With fear for our democracy, I dissent. With those words, Justice Sotomayor laid out what was wrong with the Supreme Court majority's very wrong decision on presidential immunity. Welcome to MOMocrats MOmochat, part of the Demcast family of podcasts. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills with Karoli and Aliza Worthington of crooksandliars.com. And we weren't going to do one today or this week.
Yeah, it feels like we needed to after all we talked about some of the decisions last week, but this one. So first of all, I just have to say I was wrong. I thought for sure that because to me, this is such a slam dunk that, if I'm not immune from breaking the law, how is he immune from breaking the law? How is anybody that sits in the White House immune from breaking the law? That I don't understand.
Well, you're not in the pocket of the Koch brothers.
I don't think I could even blame this on the Kochs. I think this is
Kochs. This is Leonard Leo.
Yeah, and more the christofascist wing, actually. So
a long-term project.
Yeah. So just to review what they did today, they said that if a president does something and it's an official act, he can't be prosecuted for it. He's immune from prosecution. And they gave him presumptive immunity for acts while in office. And then said, essentially, personal acts can be prosecuted. So basically, it's 3 tiers, 3 buckets, right? There's official acts, there's presumed official acts, and then there's personal acts. And now the courts are going to have to figure out, and Judge Chutkan specifically is going to have to figure out what exactly all of that means. And they gave some specific examples. Roberts did. He said, for example, that pressuring the DOJ is an official act that he's entitled to do. He's entitled to remove officials and replace them as an official act. So now think of this in the context of Project 2025, right? Where he just basically fires everybody that doesn't agree with him and puts in his little fascist army. Okay. That would be deemed to be an official act.
Yeah.
Not a personal
act. They just made Project 2025. They just enabled it.
Right. It totally enabled it. So that would be an official act. They gave as possibly official and presumptively immune acts his call to the Georgia Secretary of State. Which,
oh my God.
So they basically said, they didn't say it was immune. They said it's presumptively immune until it's proven that it's a personal act. And they sort of left it like in limbo. This is what I mean. It's like every little thing you would have to do unless you impeached and removed, him. So there's that. And then there's the personal acts. And I'm sorry, I have to go back and see what they gave as personal acts. Oh, speaking at the ellipse, which I figured they would say that's an official act, and it is, right? But the question is, I know, fake electors, fraudulent electors, is that would not be an official act. That would be a personal act. The problem is the other thing that they did, which just made me want to bang my head, is that you can't use official acts as evidence when you're prosecuting personal acts.
Yeah, they fucked up Jack Smith's case
in a big way. Yeah, I mean, Jack Smith is a real good legal mind, so maybe he can figure a way through this. Maybe he's already gamed it out and knows what he's going to do next. I don't know. But, I read it and said, well, okay, that fucks up the January 6th case completely. And Clarence Thomas gave Aileen Cannon opened a door for her to be able to just dismiss all the documents charges.
Wait, why Clarence Thomas? I thought Robert.
Clarence Thomas wrote a concurring opinion.
Wrote a concurring opinion, okay.
Yeah, where he said, as sort of a non sequitur, that he doesn't see where there's a law or any constitutional justification for a special counsel.
Which is
And
what she's
she just held a hearing on.
right.
No collusion.
Yeah.
No collusion there.
Yeah.
None, right?
Wait, a special counsel, like in any cases, or
Yes.
just in this case?
Yes. In any
No,
case.
in any. Yeah. I mean, basically, he's saying he doesn't see where there's statutory authority for any special counsel, which is
There should
this
be
has
no
been settled.
accountability for the president. No accountability unless
Yeah.
it's a Democrat.
Yeah, this has been settled, this issue of a
Mhm.
special counsel, and there is precedent for it, and there is law for it, and there is funding for it. So for Clarence Thomas just to come off the wall with that bullshit was enough. But here's the other thing that I noticed, and I've not read deeply into this yet, but a lot of the sites that they give for their logic is other Trump cases that they've decided.
They're citing themselves.
They're citing
Yeah.
themselves.
Right. But specifically with regard to Trump, it's like they laid the all the little cobblestones and this is the end of the road. It's just mind-boggling. And I mean, I would like to find some sliver of hope in all of this. Right. I was inundated with messages. Like I got up at 6 this morning and then I waited and waited and waited. And I had to sit through all the bullshit that they were talking about with Biden and everything. And then it comes and then I'm just inundated with messages like from my kids, even, the democracy is dead. The American experiment is dead. And it's like, this isn't helpful to me. Don't come in.
It's not
Occupy
to anyone. This is the authoritarian playbook to make us feel that we don't have any recourse.
Right.
I got on Threads today and I posted that if this was a movie, we would be at the end of Act 2 when it looks like the heroes are in such a pickle they can never get out of it.
Right.
They're defeated.
This is the lady tied up on the train tracks and the train.
Right. And then we go into Act 3 and someone's figured something out, and with pulling together and pluck, they snatch victory from the jaws of defeat and you have your happy ending.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that this is real life and not Hollywood, but we have to think of ourselves as those heroes. We are the cavalry.
That's a great way to put it, Donna.
We have to vote. We have to vote. We have to get out the vote. We have to, the Supreme Court and our very democracy. That is the issue. I don't care how old Joe Biden is. I don't care about any of that.
Right.
We do not want a king. We're going into July 4th, and we do not want this to be 250 years later and now we've got a king.
Now we're back to having a king.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it.
If I could encourage people to do what they didn't do after the debate. I decided to do what even I and many, many other people didn't do after the debate, which is wait a few days before absorbing this. Don't necessarily assume. I mean, it's terrible. I'm not going to lie. I know it's awful. All the smart people around me are saying it's terrible, and I believe them. But I'm going to let the dust settle. I'm going to wait for people to show me the analysts who know what they're talking about, to show me ways in which this isn't quite the disaster on the scale that we think it is, and that there are ways to, if anything, this is even more reason to get out the vote, channel your outrage, channel your desire to not have a king, channel all of this panic into action, and how to do it. Take a few days, take a deep breath, look around at your local Democratic parties, look around, see who's got action plans, see what you can do. Google swing state races, Google Senate races that, that matter, House races that matter. Google, see what can I do? There's nothing alleviates panic better than action.
Yeah.
And just even if it's writing 5 postcards every weekend between now and November, it's something you can do, and you can look forward to it. It doesn't have to be a chore. It can be, okay, half an hour I will spend this weekend getting out pretty markers and taking postcards and writing them. It can be half an hour, and you can know.
And that's therapeutic, especially if you.
And it's just an idea. Or if you have $5 extra or $25 extra that you can put into ActBlue for specific things, and then it's just gone from your account, and you're not going to miss it. And every time you panic, you can think, I am doing something. I am doing something. If you're able-bodied, interested in canvassing, there are still, you got between now, we have 3 months, 4 months between now and the election. Lots of organizations are giving, are clamoring for people to help out in these canvassing things, meet and greets with people running for office. There's all kinds of things.
I'd also encourage people to sign up to be observers on election day.
Observers. Yeah, that's a great idea. If you just want to volunteer on the day of the election, and look for sane, rational voices. Like, I guess was it in our emails, Karoli, that we just saw a thread from Barb McQuaid? Was it Crooks and Liars emails?
I did see it. I don't know if it was in our email or not.
Anyway, it just says, look, there are things in this decision that can be used to, it doesn't 1,000% signal that that democracy is over. There are, let's let the legal minds absorb it. Don't listen to the media. Listen to some voices of sanity, some rational people who you respect. Remember, the media wants you to panic, and it's good for them when you panic.
Well, then you should read Sotomayor's dissent.
Yeah, it's short and sweet and to the point. And you opened up this podcast with her dissent, which was, pretty strong. And I guess I haven't read Jackson's either, but I'm looking at what she wrote. The majority of my colleagues seem to have put their trust in our court's ability to prevent presidents from becoming kings through case-by-case application of the indeterminate standards of their new presidential accountability paradigm. I fear they are wrong, but for all our sakes, I hope they're right. In the meantime, because the risks and power the court has now assumed are intolerable, unwarranted, and plainly antithetical to bedrock constitutional norms, I dissent. So that was, I think the takeaway for me from all the cases, right, that lead up to this. Now you have the president that can be a king and who can take money for illegal or
a gratuity.
For official acts that he's immune, right? He can take those as gratuities.
Right.
And there's no agencies to oversee anything. So
who cares about an emoluments clause now, right?
Right. Yeah, who cares about that? So there's, where was I going with this? Oh, so you have a king and you have the court. And the real only option here is to win all the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And then you expand the court by whatever means is necessary. You expand the court and you write rules that take away some of the power that they've grabbed.
Right. especially, in the Chevron case.
Right.
Yeah. And
But
you go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, democracy isn't dead yet.
No.
But if the Republicans win in November, it will be.
Right. I mean, there can't be a more existential moment than this. So when we talk about the person being tied to the railroad tracks, right? The country is being tied to the railroad tracks, and it's up to us. The Republican train is coming down on it, and it's up to us to get her untied. And the Statue of Liberty is on the railroad tracks right now.
Yes, and Project 2025 is like
going like that. Yeah.
So I have two things I want to say. One is that I found Barb McQuaid's post.
Oh, good.
She says, so there's some good news in the SCOTUS opinion. So this is Barb McQuaid's takeaway from it. There's no immunity for unofficial acts and she says this includes pressuring state officials, fake elector schemes, public statements made as a candidate likely qualify. All those things likely qualify as no immunity. This is number 2, immunity for official acts is only presumptive. Conduct must fall within conclusive and preclusive constitutional authority. So meetings with VP Pence are still on the table. I'm not sure what she's talking about there.
Where he was pressuring Pence to throw out the...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah, go ahead.
That was ambiguous. They said it could be an official act. It might not be an official act. The facts will determine that. I mean, I'm like, how is pressuring Mike Pence to do something that's unconstitutional an official act? How can that possibly be?
Yeah. What's dismaying is that we had the assumption that criminal acts by a president were not immune, no matter what.
Yeah.
If he committed a criminal act, and look how difficult it's been to get those cases to trial.
Right.
Yeah. And then the third thing she says is POTUS need not be impeached and convicted first.
That was a win, I will say. That was their whole premise, was that the only time that you could prosecute would be if he'd been impeached and convicted.
Right. Yeah. Right. So that's Barb McQuaid so far. So like I said, I am trying to go, I know it's terrible. Well, I know it's terrible. I'm just waiting just to find out. Anyway, and the second thing I wanted to say is that the more you know, the more you can inform other people. And I say this because just today, I was in a meeting with, now this is a very suburban white person thing, just sentence I'm about to speak. I was on a Zoom call with our financial advisors because my husband just switched jobs, and we were trying to figure out some 401k stuff. Mm-hmm. And my question was, what about, volatility with the coming election? Mm-hmm. And he said, well, there's going to be an election in 2024, and then there's going to be one in 2028, and then there's going to be one in 2032. And I said, hold on a second.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. I said, I would appreciate it if you would not treat this coming election as if it's any other election. And I said, I don't know if you're aware, but the case that just came down from the Supreme Court today grants near total immunity to the President of the United States. And if one of the candidates gets elected over the other, that candidate has promised to, there's all kinds of, forget about, volatility, but especially since we are talking about finances, and that the Chevron case, removed all regulatory, basically neutered all these regulatory agencies. I would like for you to consider these things when we're talking about what to do with my money. And not act like this is just any other, conservative, Republican, Democrat, whatever. Yeah, the market goes up and down. There's a lot more at stake here. And he kind of went, oh, yeah, all right, you're right. I'll talk to my team, and but I'm
sure there's been no research on it.
there are, well, yeah, I mean, like, how are they going to research what happens if democracy fails?
What's going to happen
this is
if
like,
you've got a Nazi government and they start seizing your assets entirely?
exactly. Like, I want them to know that it's on my radar, and I want it to be on their radar when they're giving me advice about where to put my money. Should I take it all out and put it in cash now? Like, I'm at that point.
Yeah, I know. It's terrifying.
So this is like, everybody needs to be aware that these SCOTUS decisions have implications in many, many other aspects of your lives that, just even a little bit of knowledge, a good overview, of what is going on with these SCOTUS decisions can help you at least prepare a little bit, or interrogate the people who are allegedly giving you advice, whether it's your doctor or your financial guy or your neighbors or your teachers. Are you going to have to put the 10 Commandments up in my kid's classroom, or what are you going to do in that case? Like, these things.
Teach the Bible in Oklahoma.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Right. Like these things, this is as big an argument as any. This is like the fundamental argument for being aware of what's going on in the world and not putting your head in the sand.
Right. No, I agree.
Here's my soapbox.
And much as I want to put my head in the sand.
I know.
And with regard to your 401ks too, I mean, that honestly, this immunity decision has less impact on your 401ks than the other decisions did.
Right? Oh, I know. That's what I was saying. I was like, with all of that
and everything else, because now, how did the IRS regulate your 401ks? What's to stop your trustees from running off with money or charging inordinate, crazy fees or whatever for it?
And, just the basic thing that if Trump comes in and institutes the tariffs that he's talking about, right. Everybody's been complaining for 3 years about inflation. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What's going to blow up the world economy?
Yes, it will.
So all those things, I just encourage everybody to try to get, but the scary thing is, I can't say go to the media and find these things out, because
all they do is Biden is old. He needs to step down.
You're not going to get it.
Nope.
So one of the things that I've been hammering on is that we have to take back the Senate, or keep the Senate and expand it. So
and get the House.
I've been trying for 2 weeks actually to talk about this on the show. There is a candidate running in North Dakota who is a Democrat, and she's a populist, and she's really good. And I'm going to try to get her to come for an interview on this show with us. But those are the people that we need to lift up and support and everything. And I know you're going to ask me for her name. I know. I'm
sorry. I'll look it up. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Keep talking. Just keep talking. I'll do this.
I was hesitant because in red states like that, in North Dakota, in those places, I hate to steer people in that direction, but North Dakota is kind of a wild card. I mean, it's not a very heavily populated state. It is very populist, and she is also. So there is actually, and she's really good with people.
So she's running for Congress or for
Senator?
Senate?
Yeah, she's running for the Senate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'll get you her name, and hopefully we'll interview her. But I wanted to bring it up just because that hope thing is important right now. And one of the things that was hard for me earlier in the day was that people were just inundating me with this democracy is dead, blah, blah, blah. And I couldn't cope with that without a piece of hope. So for me, I mean, the only thing that's left is us.
Yeah. Amy Siskind posted something that gave me solace just before we went on the air, where she pointed out that in the entire history of our country, Americans don't like it when things get too extreme. Mm-hmm. And every time there's been the danger of us becoming too extreme, we have self-corrected. Americans love their democracy. Mm-hmm. And we don't like bullies.
Right.
And there's hope in that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think
There is
there's
hope
too.
in the nature of the country in that way, in that even, never Trump Republicans and independents and people who still love their democracy may be able to see the imminent danger, and we can work together instead of feel ourselves being divided, which is how the whole media landscape felt this weekend.
Oh, all
It
weekend
was
long.
it was the whole Bernie versus Hillary thing on steroids this weekend.
It was,
I
and
found
it
her, by the
wasn't
way.
just in public. I mean, it was behind the scenes too.
Right.
It was
It
really
was
tough.
bad.
Katrina
That was her, yeah.
Christensen. Yeah,
Katrina Christensen
right.
is
And
running for
she,
U.S. Senate in North Dakota.
yeah. So her bio is impressive. She grew up poor. She basically, if it hadn't been for government programs, she wouldn't have, her family and her wouldn't have survived and everything. But she, graduated valedictorian, went on to college, has a PhD now.
Oh,
So
wow.
there is someone you can shoot a donation to.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know that a lot of people felt this way during the debate, in that they had major fundraising since that debate on the Biden, and major people volunteering.
Yeah.
This,
And
this,
that gives me hope too, because I feel like the media narratives are just the kind of the white
male.
male perspective, right?
Well, I mean, just look at the New York Times editorial page.
Even Paul Krugman.
I know.
Did you look? I mean, I wonder. I mean, there were a lot of cancellations. I saw so many people saying they canceled the New York Times. They canceled their subscription.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they should. I mean, it was really disgusting how they, immediately went into that mode.
Yeah.
And everything. So
I think only the Philadelphia Inquirer that called on Trump to step down.
Yeah, and that was perfect.
Yeah,
that was great. How about Trump steps down?
Yeah. So another thing I've been trying to do is to think about, like I said this to one of my kids today. I said, if everybody just threw their hands up in the air and said, well, that's the end of that after the Dred Scott decision,
yeah,
where would we be? Right.
Exactly.
And so I've been trying to put myself in the shoes of the Black women, the people that lifted Biden and Harris up and got that ticket elected, and how absolutely infuriating it must have been for all weekend to hear this, one bad debate, he's got to go,
right.
And
you don't have to wonder. I mean, I follow a bazillion Black people on Twitter and on Instagram, and they were all saying that's exactly what they were saying.
Yeah,
That's what Stacey Abrams said. Stacey Abrams said, good Lord, Republicans stumble and they say they're dancing. Democrats stumble and they crawl into a hole and hide. This is absurd. They're like, and everybody's like, some of you don't have any Black friends and it shows. This is what I was
exactly.
For God's sakes, this is, and all I was saying on Facebook all weekends, ever since, listen to Black women, follow them. They built this country for free, under duress, enslaved, and they are telling you, don't you think you should listen to them? Don't you think you should honor them for a change and embrace the candidate they are saying you should support?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm in groups with Black women too, and it's the same thing. It's and they were getting demoralized by everybody
else's,
everybody else, but that when they get demoralized, they don't give up. They just get madder. I mean,
and I'm tired of them having to carry us. We need to carry us.
I agree.
And we need to carry them.
Yeah. I agree. So this July 4th.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's really vow to do it. Get behind Biden, get behind Kamala Harris, get behind, senators, House races, whatever you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
because we are the cavalry.
Yeah. Writ. So there you go.
On that note,
there's your little mini Monday podcast.
Little mini Monday podcast reaction
No show Friday.
To the news. No show Friday because we're going to be busy arguing with our family members.
I'm going to be busy flying to Portland.
So join us the following time, next time, on YouTube, MOMocrats.buzzsprout.com, or on your favorite podcast service such as iTunes, Google, and Amazon Music. And be sure to check our Facebook page for updates. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills with Karoli and Aliza Worthington, and we say happy 4th of July. Try to have a happy 4th of July. Lock him up.
Bye.
MOMocrats MOmochat's part of the Demcast family of podcasts.